The Laws of Ascension, Chapter 3, Mage Levels. We break mages into 3 different stages. First, which is what we are and also the weakest, is lesser mages. They're mages who are still comprehending their laws. Each stage is broken into the same 10 tiers too. We're, or at least I am, a 9th tier lesser mage. Lorik says, causing Rowan to spit out his water. You're already 9th tier? He asks, shocked and surprised. What's 9th tier? Is it not the lowest tier? Vera asks. No, the lowest is 10th tier. 10th tier lesser mages are mages who haven't comprehended 10% of their law. All tiers are broken into 10% increments. So a mage that has comprehended 30% of a law is a 7th tier lesser mage. Since he's 9th tier, it means he's comprehended over 10% of his law. Rowan explains. Right? And once you reach 100%, you graduate from being a lesser mage. At that time, you become a mage. Mages have to turn that comprehended law into their own unique law. It's different from the law becoming yours once you comprehend it. Now they have to change it. It's hard to describe as, I don't know much about it, but we'll learn it from our professors once we get there. Finally, once they reach 100% of turning the law into their own law, they move on. Then they become grand mages. Grand mages have to fuse the law with their own body. No idea how, but that's what I've read about it. Also, going back to Rowan's 3 laws. If he comprehends his law of power to become a 5th tier lesser mage, he won't become that until his laws of fire and earth match that. So having more laws will make it take longer to increase your levels. And as your level increases, you'll be carried to hold more soul power. The reason being, when we comprehend laws, they improve our souls. Lorik explains. Speaking of law, you never did tell us yours. So what law do you comprehend? Sarah asks. The law of the hunt. Lorik replies, causing Sarah to tilt her head in thought. Rowan places a hand against his chin and thinks it over too. I don't think I've heard of that law before, Rowan says. Can't say I'm surprised. I tried looking into it before, but I haven't found any information on it. As far as I know, it's a law no one has discovered before. Lorik says, surprising them. Really? I wonder if Father's heard of it before. Sarah says, muttering to herself, Anyway, what weapon do you two use? Vera asks the 2 guys. I use a mace and shield. It's what I was trained with since childhood. Well, I trained with a sword instead of a mace. But once I decided to use the law of power, I changed. I can get more out of that law with a blunt weapon. Rowan says while holding out his hand. Mist pours out of a brown ring on his pointer finger. It turns into a mace and shield. The mace is just a metal pole with a sturdy ball on top. The shield is in the shape of a circle and has a few dents on it. As for me, I use a sword, Lorik says while holding his hand out. On his hand are 4 rings, 3 of which are storage rings, the same as the others. One is green, one is red, and the last is brown. But instead of coming from one of the rings, a sword materializes in his hand. It's made of blue light and looks plain. There's no design or change. The only thing that changes is its shape as it goes from a blade to a guard and finally the hilt. But my sword is a little unique. It's a result of my soul ability. Lorik says, causing Vera to smile. I thought your sword was a little odd when we fought together, she says as Lorik drops the sword. It disappears before falling even an inch. I didn't think you'd have a soul ability too. Rowan and I both have one too, by the way, Sarah says. Then that makes 4 of us. I have one too, Vera adds. Do you mind if we ask about yours? You don't have to answer, but we'll tell you ours in exchange, Rowan asks. I don't mind, do you? Vera asks Lorik, who shakes his head. Then mine is an explosive burst of power. I can release a powerful attack that's equal to 10 of my regular attacks, but it takes a lot out of me currently, so I can only use it once before having to rest and recharge my soul power. I also might not be able to use magic after it, as you need soul power to use magic. Vera says with a laugh. I wonder what kind of law that contains, Sarah says, thinking aloud. It contains a law? Vera asks, confused. Yes, all soul abilities come from laws. A soul ability is created when we're born. It's impossible to get one after being born. Lorik says, causing Sarah to clench her fists. It's theorized that they're created when our soul acquire laws during birth. But it's unclear as it's hard to research souls. Anyway, once we graduate from lesser mages and become mages, our soul abilities will give us their laws. We won't have to comprehend them at all, which will be nice. But it's also bad in a way, as we'll have to turn that extra law into our own law in order to become a Grand Mage. So it's not all good, especially if you get a law you don't like. You can't just get rid of it. Lorik explains. No offense, Vera, but were you sheltered before coming here? Rowan asks, causing Vera to blush. Sarah elbows Rowan in his ribs for saying that. Vera sighs before speaking. I kind of was. I didn't know I was going to attend this academy until a few days ago, so I didn't study much on these matters. I honestly guessed a lot of the test and got it right. So I don't know a lot of what you consider common knowledge. Vera says, Don't worry, none of this is common knowledge. In fact, it's expected that you'd only get half of the written test right. They just wanted to see how many people studied up. So don't worry, besides this is an academy. The reason it exists is to teach people. Sarah says reassuringly, On that note, my sole ability is this sword. I can use it to fight, and it cuts pretty well. I haven't had issues with it. I can also do something else with it, but it's hard to put into words, so I'll just show you later. Lorik says, changing the topic and causing Vera to smile. Certainly. Here is the rewritten information exactly as requested, with no changes to the content. Mine is a stun ability. It creates a power that travels along my mace or shield. Hitting someone with it will cause them to stop moving for a few seconds. It's really handy in melee combat. Rowan says, Mine is a curse ability. It lets me weaken and inflict pain on my enemies. I can't select the targets, though, so anything in the area of effect will suffer from it. Sarah adds, Those are interesting. I don't know if it's a demon thing, but I've never seen soul abilities that weren't direct attacks. Vera says, causing Rowan to smile, Can't say I know either, but I love mine. It's a blessing in combat, though it does have a long cooldown. It doesn't use too much soul power, but I can't use it repeatedly, so it's not good in group battles. Rowan says, I feel the same with mine, Vera says as Lorik nods in agreement. I like how with mine, I don't have to worry about carrying a weapon. It's great not having to maintain one. Lorik says before jumping up out of his chair. The same sword from earlier appears in his hand and he spins around. He tosses the sword behind him before the others can react. There's a clanging sound to their left. None of them were facing them, since they were looking at one another. Until Lorik moved, none of them felt anything. But after seeing him attack, they felt a faint murderous intent coming from their left. It disappears just as quickly as they sense it. Looking to their left, they see two familiar people. In front is Headmaster Arlen, and behind him is King Eldrin. Headmaster Arlen is the one who blocked Lorik's sword. He created a vine that sprang out of the ground in front of him. Despite looking soft, it's sturdier than steel given Arlen's level. Impressive reaction. You managed to sense me before I could attack. Headmaster Arlen says while smiling and looking at Lorik. Lorik is just standing there, unsure whether to apologize or get ready to fight. No need to be alarmed. That was just a little test. Something I didn't mention during the assembly earlier is the team numbers. You four are Team 1, the strongest team of freshmen. The numbers represent this, 1 being the strongest and 250 being the weakest. But don't get complacent. Other teams can challenge you and take your number. You also get perks for being first, but you'll learn of those later. Anyway, I just wanted to test your reactions to being attacked. I planned to wrap you in vines, but I didn't expect you to sense me. What law do you comprehend again? Headmaster Arlen asks. The king next to him is smiling approvingly, clearly happy with his daughter's teammate's skill. I comprehend the law of the hunt, Lorik replies, stunning the headmaster. As headmaster, he's studied laws for years. He can confidently say he knows the names of every law, if not their power and echelon. But now he's at a loss, having never heard the name of that law. I don't think I heard of that law before. What did you do to comprehend that? The king asks, coming to his friend's aid. I hunted, and I tried researching this law before, but no other laws are like it, so I called it the law of the hunt. As far as I'm aware, no one's comprehended it before. Lorik explains, causing Arlen's eyes to light up. The idea of studying a brand new law is like a dream to him. Do you know any spells yet? If you do, can you show me one? Arlen asks, causing the king to sigh. Sorry, we weren't planning on disturbing you, But Arlen wants to test the top 50 teams like this, which is why we came, but now he's sidetracked. If you don't mind, would you humor him? The king asks and Lorik nods. He reaches out with his left hand. A magic circle appears on the ground. It's 3 feet wide and brown in color. A phantom wolf head emerges from the circle. It comes out with its jaw open and bites down. The sound of its teeth slamming shut is loud enough to be heard outside the garden. No chant, that's impressive, Arlen says while walking over to the wolf's head. He places his palm against it and looks it up and down. The breath of the law of the hunt slowly spreads through the garden. This certainly is a new law. I've never felt this breath before, Arlen says while the king nods. Given that the first spell is an attack spell, it's certainly a combat law. So far, it should belong to the physical tree as well, but it's too soon to say what echelon it is. The king adds as Arlen nods. The two step away from the wolf's head. As soon as they do, Lorik lowers his hand and the wolf's head sinks back into the magic circle. Thank you. We'll let you get back to it now. Don't forget to go and choose your dorms too. As Team 1, you get first pick, so other teams can't until you do, Arlen says as the two walk away. As they walk, they don't make a sound. Had Arlen not spoken, you wouldn't hear them walking at all. Not only that, but they've completely erased their breath, making it impossible to sense them without using laws. I guess we should get going then. We shouldn't keep them waiting, Sarah says while standing up.